Coach said, I'm Gary Aberline. I'm the Dean of Nursing and Health Science. That having been said, I'm going to tell y'all, I have been in medicine longer than y'all have been alive. That may show my age. But here's the thing. Over these years, there have been a lot of learning lessons that have come along. Lessons that I think you folks could probably benefit from. And I'm going to tell y'all a story that is a true story that happened. This was, I don't remember the exact year, but I can tell you the date. It was on December 24th. I was working, finishing rotations at a place in Columbia called Providence Heart Center. It was a private hospital. And all of a sudden, we had this kid come in who was 22 years old, student at the University of South Carolina. And he came in because he was extremely short of breath, had a fever, these kind of things. So at that time, of course, we did the initial assessment, chest x-rays, blood work, full workup of what was going on with him. And one of the things was the chest x-ray. But when the chest x-ray comes up, it presented with a pattern that we all understood what that pattern was. Because the pattern actually was very determinant of what was going on with him. So as we looked at this x-ray, we knew that he had a condition that he probably was not going to survive. Now, what I want y'all to do now, with that thoughts in mind, I want you to get up, talk to at least 4 people, exchange a lifesaver. Go around the room, y'all move around, introduce yourself, give them one of yours, maybe you can one back. You wanted me to hold this microphone?
Yeah, just to make sure. Looking great.
If you have a white lifesaver, stand up. At least one. Very good. Thank you. You sit down. I will tell y'all, sympathize with you being in school. So if I could be in school the rest of my life, I would. In addition to my other degrees, I also have a degree in something called epidemiology, which is the study of diseases and how diseases frequent a population. And this is, I don't know how many years I've done this exact same delivery. Every year, it matches perfectly to the epidemiological outcomes. I gave 10% of you all white lifesavers. You then shared among yourselves, meeting each other, exchanging lifesavers. And those 10 now comes out to, I think I counted 26 people with a white lifesaver. Now, what does that mean?
Are the white life supposed to be like a disease?
It is.
They just spread the disease.
Yes. The white lifesavers actually represented a sexually transmitted disease.
Don't even look at me.
So that having been said, let me tell you, that number is statistically accurate for this campus. So going back to my story. This guy that comes in on December 24th. with pneumonia. X-ray comes up. We see the pattern. We know instantly what he has. He has a form of pneumonia called Pneumocystis jirovecii. That is a bug that we all probably at one time in our lives have probably been exposed to. Never causes a problem. Except for people who are born without an intact immune system, people who have had organ transplants, people who have been on oncology, and people who have developed acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Who knows what that is? That is AIDS. You may not know this, but HIV is, when you test positive for HIV, that is just that you tested positive. You don't die of HIV. You die of AIDS. And the way AIDS is determined is a couple different markers in the body. T-cell development, a couple others, and one of the tried and true ones is also the presence of Pneumocystis jirovecii. This guy, probably 6'2", 6'3", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, muscular, good-looking guy. December 24th, where his hospital room was on the hematology floor, and I walked by him every day until February 14th. Not because he was discharged, but because he died. He never left the hospital from December 24th to February 14th. And when he died, he probably weighed less than 100 pounds. His hair had come out, he had sores, teeth had fallen out. This was a horrible, horrible death. You people now live in a world where you don't think about it anymore. When I was in college, I'll tell you this story. There was this thing that said, oh, well, you could get HIV from a mosquito that bites an infected person, then it bites you, then you become positive. That's bullshit. It don't happen like that. The mosquito can't maintain the temperature for it even to be a thing. But I grew up in a world where HIV was a death sentence. You are now in a world where if you test positive, you can go on a viral, on an antibiotic and a microbial type drugs that actually prevents you from developing and has become very minimal. You'll have it the rest of your life, but you don't typically die from it. So that having been said, there's still other things out there too. Yes, that statistic that I gave you is accurate for this campus.
Okay, hang on.
So this is the question that I present to you. What do you know about STD? You can say, no, this will never happen to me. But let me just tell you some of the statistics. Okay, y'all fix it. Okay. 1 in 4 students, when you arrived on campus, had some form of STD. 1 in 4. So let's see, there's 5 of y'all at that table. That means definitely one of y'all are getting dirty. Right? Statistically. So 1 in 4 If college students think they aren't at risk of getting STDs, then these are some of the serious numbers to think about. Estimated 1 in 4 students will contract it. By the time they graduate, 50% will have been exposed. 50%. I did the 10% in here. When you had a brief in exchanges, it came out right at 50%. 54% of students regularly use condoms during vaginal intercourse, 29% during anal intercourse, and only 4% during oral sex. And I will tell you, y'all are too young to know some of the history. We had a president who told us that oral sex was not sex. Folks took that to heart. Now we have an outbreak of different types of infections as a result. Numbers are sadly low, and perhaps the reason the STDs are level so high among students. Students are in a community where we provide free condoms, sexual education courses, but are not taking advantage of it. And here's the thing about it. Nobody thinks you're going to be pure. Nobody thinks that nothing's going to ever happen. But here's the truth. It's just like speed. Everybody else speeds. Why can't I speed? And all of a sudden, you get stopped and you're charged. And you think, why did this happen to me? The question is not why did this happen to me, is why do I question that it did? You knew the risk up front. Some of these STDs are treatable. A lot of them are treatable now. Some are not. Herpes, for example. Herpes cannot be eradicated. It may be minimized. You may not be symptomatic, but it stays in your body. And in times of stress, ladies in particular, when you become pregnant, a lot of times you have to have a cesarean to prevent passing the herpes to your newborn by not allowing it to go through the vaginal canal, because the herpes has now become activated in your body. CDC estimates that 19 million new sexually transmitted infections occur every year, almost half between ages of 14 and 25. So that means about 8.5 million new cases of people who are 15 to 24. How many of you in here are 15 to 24? Every one of you probably, except for me and Mr. Galliano.
That's right.
College is a time that you are learning about yourself. You've got more freedom than you've ever had before. Perhaps that is why STD rates are much higher among teens and young adults than they are about any other age group. Of course, I will tell you this. Do you know another age group that STDs are the highest among? Which is that? Elderly who are in skilled nursing facilities and community homes. Yes, you got nothing else to do. 80% of people who have a sexually transmitted experience have no symptoms. This also means that since you have no reason to believe there's anything wrong with them, it's unlikely that they'll visit a doctor or be checked out. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I've been at Newberry College now 7 years. And in those 7 years, I have had 3 very interesting experiences. And it usually begins with, thank God, a guy walking in going, I need to show you something. And he begins to unzip his pants. And in all 3 cases, it was like, yes, you need to go to the free clinic. Because they had contracted something that had gone unchecked for too long, and it was very much symptomatic. One study college students that 91% of women with a new HPV, and that is human papillomavirus, it is something that some of you may have gotten vaccines for around age 12. But those who haven't and who have contracted it, they are pretty much undetectable. And it used to be the #1 sexually transmitted disease on college campuses. Does anybody know what the #1 sexually transmitted disease on Newberry College campus is? Chlamydia. Students should take advantage of these vaccines if you haven't already had it. Now, here's the other thing. I know y'all are all, every educator is under 21, right? So I know from personal experience, nobody in here would ever let a drop of alcohol pass their lips that was not blessed by Pastor Kaufman, right? But if there were someone, 45% of college freshmen who have been binge drinking under influence failed to consider the use of contraceptive aids and were engaging in sexual intercourse. 15 of these students contracted and or spread STDs among the college students. 7% of those infected students were unaware of their condition. Alcohol, of course, plays a big role. It diminishes your inhibitions, and a lot of times you're in a situation that you shouldn't be. More than half the participants in the study among college students believe they can tell if someone has it. They cannot. We've talked about these statistics. I have no idea that they are even infected. And because they're not aware they're infected, they take no precautions to prevent the spread. Now, here's a very interesting one, too. 86% of men know how to use a condom correctly. 70% believe men should carry a condom at all times just in case. But only 60% of women know how to use one. And a whopping 60% said they would still have sex even if their partner refused to wear a condom. So that having been said, talk to the guys. That condom that you've had in your wallet since before the beginning of school, just in case, it's been in your wallet that you've been set your 170-pound butt on with your wallet, or you left in your vehicle in South Carolina heat, is worthless. Because one of the characteristics of latex is it develops microscopic tears when it's put under pressure or if it is exposed to high temperatures. So if you have one just in case, let it go. It's no good anymore. You're going to let the family out and you're going to invite infection in. This is the case where women can step up and protect themselves. Most college campuses offer classes that teach women about safe sex, condoms, and how to protect themselves. Of course, it is important to learn that some partners, even those you really like, aren't worth having unprotected sex with, that you then develop a sexually transmitted disease. Now, this is a very interesting statistic, ladies. 60% of women in the same survey reported that they were in a committed relationship. 38% of the men reported they were in a committed relationship. So let me just tell y'all, 22% of y'all are dogs, right? 22% is leading you on, and you thinking they're not cheating, but they actually are. As we all know, relationships can be very interesting thing. Both you and your partner should be aware of what you're doing. You might think you're only sleeping with each other, but you are sleeping with everyone they have slept with. Now, I will tell y'all, this is the baseball guy's not mine. What's your name? John. What's your name? Keeler. So Keeler and John are great friends. John has been sleeping with this girl for about 6 months. Well, things go south then. Now Keeler is sleeping with the same girl. You would have stole your wife. You would have stole your woman. Now let me just tell you this. On a biological level, Keeler was also sleeping with John. Because whatever John had, the girl picked up. Now Keeler has picked up whatever it was that John had. Whenever you have sex with someone, you are sleeping with everyone they have slept with for the past 7 years. On a microscopic, biological, viral, bacterial level. What position y'all playing? Literally nerd. So this is my name. Like I said, I'm Dr. Jerry Engelmeyer. I am the Dean of Nursing and Health Science. I am in the Darby Center, room 120. If you have problems, you have a question, you want to come talk to me, you are welcome to come talk to me, and we will do what we need to do to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. This is not a joke, folks. It is one of those very difficult topics to sometimes have. Probably your parents didn't even talk to you about STDs. But believe me when I tell you, it is there. It is not, it is a factual element of life, unfortunately. And like I showed you, statistically, this class matched exactly what's happening on this campus. We are at 1,562 students, isn't that right? So that means
Including online.
the population is not the same as it was at the University of South Carolina when I went there, that had 45,000 people there. So you are a lot closer knit, and probably from a statistical perspective, not only was John sleeping with Keeler, John probably was also with Josh, Jacob. It's a whole lot of fools that's going on that baseball team. So anyway, that is the emphasis I'm trying to make to you is be aware of what your circumstances are, be aware of what's out there, be aware of the risk that you're actually taking. So what questions would y'all have for me? None? After that riveting performance, and you don't have any questions? After I just made fun of one of the major sports on campus, you have no questions? Definitely. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Eloy.
And
Where,
where would they go to get?
Well, here's a couple of different places. And primarily, and this is a plug for my place, you can go to the Newberry County Memorial Hospital Clinic, located at the Darby Center, that you can walk across campus and get it done there. Health departments can do it, as well as primary care physician offices can do it. So those are some of the opportunities out there for you.
you said students can ask for free condoms where?
They should go to the health center with Renee Jackson.
Oh, yeah, they like the old patients are, yeah, they know.
Yeah,
Wait, we can eat one.
if you want to, baby.
Yeah, just don't
Yeah,
leave your
those are
trash.
nice neighbors of yours to keep. So if you want to eat them, eat them. All right, thank y'all.
Hang on before you go, everybody. Hang on before you go. Before y'all go, just a minute. Just a minute, everybody. On Thursday, we meet here again. And bring your laptops. Bring your charged laptops Thursday. Okay, any other announcements for faculty? Thank you, Dr. Alewine. Let's have a round of applause for Dr. Alewine. Button turns on. I'll leave the system.
I want to do that.
Bye.